Hey, good afternoon. This is Sarita Edwards, Secretary for Madison City Council of PTAs, and joining me this afternoon is Brian Goodwin, candidate for Madison City Council District 3. Thank you so much for being with us this afternoon.
Thanks, Sarita. Thanks for having me.
Awesome, awesome. So we're just going to ask you a few questions on behalf of the City Council of PTAs. The first question is, what specific issue or reason motivates you to serve on the City Council?
So that's a great question for me because when I look at, so District 3 is up Zert Road, which includes Town Madison, Toyota Field, and then also up the Madison Boulevard corridor, so includes Highway 20 and the developments there, and then goes from, to Sullivan and then includes downtown Madison. But specifically, I live in Edgewater, which is on Zert, which is my neighbors' backyards are in Town Madison. And so, one, there are so many opportunities that we have as a city coming up and so many decisions that have to be made. But as I was looking at the next 4 years in city council, I thought it was crucial that someone from our specific area of District 3 had a voice on the council, because my neighborhood, my neighbors are directly impacted by some of the decisions that will be made there. And I think there will be positive growth, positive commercial growth is very important, but I wanted us to have a voice on the council. And that's why I was motivated to run.
Awesome, thank you. All right, second question, what is your strategy to ensure city growth aligns with our long-term vision and keeps pace with our resources?
Well, so to me, and I've talked about this in a couple of different forums, a lot of people have used the term smart growth. When I say smart growth, because to me that means, we have a lot of talented engineers, finance people available. You can figure out an equation for what our growth should look like. We know that commercial and industrial are going to allow us to bring in more money. We know that residential, while people do pay property taxes and other things, but residential is a drain as far as the city goes. It's a drain on our schools. It's a drain on our infrastructure. And so, libraries, police, fire, all those things have to be considered as you add in new residential. But we must be balancing that equation in collaboration with the school board to make sure that we have, as we add growth, we have to make sure that our commercial growth is expanding in order to bring in enough money to afford the infrastructure that we need in order to allow more residential growth. I feel like in the last many years, we've had rampant residential growth and our commercial growth has just not kept up. And we have a demographic in Madison, a very, highly affluent demographic that expects to have commercial opportunities to be able to shop, and I believe our people will if it's available. But if the amenities are in Huntsville, then they have to go there. So we have to, as a city, start focusing on that commercial growth and industrial as well. We have some opportunities for industrial growth, but I believe commercial growth will be key in the next 4 years.
Awesome.
And manage the residential growth. We can't stop it, but we need to manage it properly.
Right.
All in collaboration with the schools.
Awesome. Thank you. So next question, how would you ensure our schools are resourced for success?
So I will say, when I looked at the way the tax increase was marketed for our, and that was voted, obviously, I think it was 78% approval. That's an example where an informed constituency will vote to improve, pay more when they know that it is needed. Well, I think the city government has to work hand in hand with the school board for our next funding, because we know that as we grow, we're going to need another middle school, possibly another high school. Where do those funds come from? Those have to be, as we add in more residences, we have to know how we're going to pay for that. Mm-hmm. I think, the subject of impact fees is something that has come up, and I've heard from the mayor and the past council that the reason those were not in favored is because they had to impact commercial as well as residential. But I've been doing some research, and I've seen where you can, there's different municipalities that have impact fees for schools, for example, and they're only applied to residences, for new residences. So I think we have to look at every funding source we have available. Increased commercial growth could obviously help us fund schools, but also it could be impact fees, it could be other things. We have to leave anything on the table, and we have to do it collaboratively with the school board.
Awesome, thank you. Last question. What message do you have for Madison families during this unusual time in history?
Well, Suri, that's funny because we were just talking about, I'm having an internet problem. So I'm having to call from my phone. We're having slow connections and those kinds of things. So so infrastructure becomes more important than ever, I think. But, just to hang in there, we're all going through this together. I think, as I talk to different people in my district and just friends and family, we all have unique problems, but we're going through them together. And there's a lot of support out there. I wanted to run for city council because I believe we do have so much opportunity in Madison, and the families in Madison are what make us the city that we are. Mm-hmm. When I look at and I walk around my district, there's a common denominator in that, most people, not everyone, but most have children in the schools. They're in their public education system. The schools are our crown jewel, really, in our city. And so a lot of people move to Madison, and the property values are kept up in Madison by our schools. And so, they're all interested in the schools. They're families that are raising their children here because they want them to get the best education that they can. So we have a lot in common, even though we're a diverse population. And so I think by listening to each other and learning from each other, we really, that is key. That's what collaboration is. And so I think communication and transparency from our city government are incredibly important. And that starts by listening to people and hearing them, not just talking to them, hearing them and for what they have to say. We're not going to always agree, right? But we can always respect each other, and we can listen and learn from each other. And everyone brings a unique perspective, and I think that's something that I want to also bring onto the council, is just the desire to listen and learn from people and in our communities.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for spending your afternoon with me, just a few minutes of it, and best wishes to you and your campaign. So I'm going to stop the recording here.